Hey, what's up? How's it going? And welcome to another episode of the Bate Escape. I am your boy, Beastly Bator, and thank you so much for joining me tonight, or morning, or afternoon. Unsure when you're listening to this episode, but I'm so glad to have you here. I bring you content that covers masturbation and self-love. I talk about all things masturbation as I identify as solosexual. I would like to think of myself as your number one online solosexual bro. That's a good one. I thought I should probably trademark that. I hope you're doing well. Before we start, I want to say that we will use explicit language, talk about explicit things. Also, too, I'm not a licensed medical professional. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I simply talk about the things in my life and hope that you all can relate on some level. Also, want to say thank you so much for giving me all the great feedback on the season 2 premiere of the Bate Escape, in which I had a lovely conversation with my bait brother, Bator Luke, who's super cool, and you all should definitely follow him on Twitter. I don't think he's on Instagram, Twitter. His handle is Bator Luke, and you can also find him on Bait World at Bator Luke Kummer with a K. So Kummer. Super chill guy, super smart, super thankful that he took the time out to record a podcast with me, and that was really cool to get that. I got your feedback, and I think you all really enjoyed me talking and having conversations with other baiters. So I am actively working on getting other baiters on the Bate Escape. So please look forward to that in future episodes. But tonight's episode is going to be on one-on-one. It's going to be me and you. We're going to talk about cool stuff that's happening in my life, cool stuff that's about to happen. And also, too, I want to know how you're doing. How are you? Really? If no one's asked you that question today, let me be the first. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's your mood like these days? Are you keeping happy? How's the bait going for you guys? I hope you guys are practicing your masturbation practices and creating a safe space and really enjoying your solo sexuality, whatever that encompasses, whatever that means to you. I really hope you're focusing on that and harnessing those powers and taking care of yourself. I really want you all to just take care of yourselves. I know what this lifestyle can entail, and it can get pretty lonely sometimes. So, here we are on social media, and here I am reaching out to you all and making sure that everyone's cool. Because I adore you all. You guys are amazing. And I want to make sure that you all are taken care of yourselves. So that's cool. What's been going on with me? Just a lot of reading, a lot of writing. I do have my very first training for sex coach certification that's going to start this weekend. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a really cool new journey for me. It's something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I finally got the courage to do it. So I want to thank people out there that supported me, that have been supporting me, that listen to this podcast and follow my stuff on social, which, by the way, you can follow and interact with me. You can find me on all social medias. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, baitworld.com, all under the handle Beastly Bator. That's me. That's my alias. Your one and only. And things have been good. I've been hanging out with a friend, keeping each other company. Hope you have some kind of support system during this whole, difficult self-quarantine phase of our lives right now. It's really important that we make sure that we take time to address other needs in our life other than sex, which is important, but also to the connection and intimacy and friendship and fostering community. Those are really important things that a lot of people don't focus on um, when they're by themselves. So I think it's extra important for us homosexuals to do it even more so, because um, we need to we really need to focus on our mental health. Well, I mean, everyone should, but I'm talking to my bros. You guys matter to me the most, so I'm really looking out for y'all. Um, yeah, what's been going on with y'all? I want to hear. What are you guys up to? Are you guys dating anyone? Are you guys reading cool books, listening to nice music? I want to know. I love learning about new stuff from y'all. It's very cool. LA is cool. What have I been doing? I've been baiting a lot, which is really cool. I mean, that I feel like I'm excelling in my life. Just the other day, if you follow my Twitter, I was just like, yo, I just reached a new level of like Gooning, and now I've transcended into Babel, um, which I never thought I was gonna be able to achieve. And then I was fucking in this amazing beat, and I was like sexting all my bros, and then it just like happened, and I was like, holy shit. And so what I tried to do was I was like trying to understand, like, what was it that I was doing that caused me to get into this level? And then I just constantly kept trying to recreate that, and I kept being successful. And I just kept gooning, and then I just became babble all of a sudden. I was just like babbling for like almost an hour. It was like probably the best bait. I don't know what it is with me. I just feel like my baits just keep getting more and more and more intense as I practice it. And I've had a lot of brothers reach out to me and say, "How do you get to that space? Like, how do you achieve gooning and babble and like complete inhibition?" I'm just like, you have to practice, bros. Like, you really have to practice. Like, I masturbate every day. It's my meditation. It's my daily practice. Um, sometimes they're quick. Sometimes they're not. They're not as intense as I have had, but I do it. You just have to do it if you want to achieve these deep, intense states of masturbation and gooning. If not, then you're good. Just keep doing you, um, and practice, or just do just however you enjoy it. There's no wrong way to masturbate. And I said it before. If it's hurting you physically, then you're doing it wrong. um, um, then something's off. But masturbation is just all love. It's pure love. It's giving yourself the attention that you need. It's taking care of yourself. It's your safe space, and it should be pleasurable always. And if it's not pleasurable, and there's a problem, and you can certainly hit me up and we can talk about it, because I love hearing you guys' stories. Um, yeah, cool. Maybe we should just jump into our first topic, which I got from Snapchat because I asked you all to submit questions and things that you guys want me to talk about and get my point of view on. And one of the things that I received from a bait bro on Snapchat, I'm gonna pull up a screenshot that I took, was gooning. And I think he just wanted me to talk a little bit about gooning and what that's like for me, and what's that like in the baiter community. So when I first heard of gooning, I like everyone else, I had no clue, right? And then one day, I think I was just like, I was googling gooning, and I found all these like videos of these dudes just like gooning out, and I was just like, whoa, that's intense. Like, I don't know if I can do that. It looks kind of silly. It looks odd. You look insane, and it just looked. I don't know. It just to me it just looked uncool. I was like, that's not cool. That's not sexy to me, right? So I was like, I don't know if I can get there. All right, well, sorry about that. My computer shut off and it cut right in the middle sentence of my podcast recording. Cool. Gooning, yeah. So I don't remember the first time it ever happened to me, but I do goon now. And gooning really just is maximum pleasure, free, totally free of judgment and shame, not from external people, but from yourself. And when you're able to get deep into a masturbatory state in which you're no longer thinking about what you look like or how you're trying to get there, you're just there. And essentially, what's happening is like your whole body is just sex. Like you feel it from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And pure pleasure is coming from your penis. And you can begin to have like these really intense bouts of pleasure. You can continue it for as long as you want. And I think the more you give yourself pleasure, the more you don't stop from masturbating, the deeper your goon becomes because it's this ongoing force of pleasure that you're giving yourself. Um, when I'm able to really, really goon out, I have the assistance of poppers. Some people don't. Some people can just achieve gooning without poppers, but I feel like I still need practice to get there without gooning on poppers. But at the moment, I use poppers and I smoke 420. So the combination of all these things gets me to a state of gooning that's really deep and profound. And I get there, like, I can do the monkey face and now I can babble. But yeah, like gooning is, and it can get really deep for some people. Like gooning can just be like a release of like, everything that society has told you what sex should be. Like you're just kind of like negating that and you're just kind of finding your way. And what you're doing is you're participating in your own sexual liberation. Like for so long, people have told us like not to masturbate, like it was just a hobby, like only like people who couldn't have sex only masturbate, and that's so not true. Like sex is such a valid form of sexual expression. It's real sex. And when you begin to erase all these negative thoughts and associations around masturbation, that's when you can really fully give into your like deepest desires. Also, to another part of gooning, to achieve gooning, like you have to kind of go there with yourself. And it's different for everyone. And there's some things in my masturbation practice that I don't really talk about because those are just things for myself. And I think it's important to like keep certain ideas or views or practices that you love in your masturbation practice to yourself. I think there's something really special about not giving it all away. Like your solo sex is for you, and it's an opportunity for you to create a safe space for yourself and really engage and think about and talk about and watch the things that really turn you on. So when you're able to access like those pleasure points, then you're able to really fully engage in masturbation. And then when you fully do that and you're doing it for a long time, there's going to be a point where you kind of transcend, like there's different levels of like masturbation. I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine, that there's jerking off and there's baiting and there's baiting with gooning and then there's gooning with babble. And then you're just, after babble, you're just dumb. Like you're just dumb on your dick. Like you're not even making any sense. Like you have no idea what you look like. You can't even speak. You're drooling. Your tongue is out. I never thought I could get there, but I have. It is possible, and I'm telling you, brothers, practice. Like it really just takes practice to do these things. And with practice, anything you practice, you're bound to get better at it. Um, so if you're curious about gooning, that's what I suggest you do. Um, really make it a point, and you really have to make a conscious effort, because I think in the beginning when I first started really kind of gooning, I still had a lot of shame about it. I was just like, God, like what if someone walked in on me? Like, what if they saw me like this? They think I'm crazy. That doesn't fucking matter. Like, once you close that door, or wherever you are, whenever you're in the private space, that's a private space for you to engage in your deepest desires. And then once you're confident achieving that level of arousal, then you can take it out into the world if you choose to do so. You can goon in your car, you can goon in the woods, or you can goon by the beach. Like, you can take it out, these things. But I think for me, what's really helped me is um, first practicing in a very private, safe space for me. Like, it's me in my bedroom, lock on the door, fully knowing that no one's gonna walk in on me doing whatever I have to do to myself, and being able to like release the anxieties of the idea of being walked in on, and knowing that I'm just fully by myself. Then I can achieve like a really great goon session. Um, yeah, but I never thought I could goon, and I goon now, and I fucking love it. Like, I'm gooning now with like brothers. Like, that's where I am in my practice. Like, now I'm actually able to goon with another person and not feel silly about it. Like, I used to feel like that's another thing too that I was like tripping on. I was like, oh shit, like if I start fucking gooning with another dude, like I don't want him to think I'm fucking weird or like crazy or like, insane. But I think as beaters we get it. We're watching that shit. Like I'll search Google Gorn. I'll Google search goon porn all the time. So we understand it. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that with another baiter, bro. Like, if you're gonna goon together. Like, I feel like when I goon or when I watch someone goon, it enhances my goon. And so like then we're just gooning with each other, which is pretty cool. You can have that with a bro. Definitely go out there and start gooning with each other. That's cool too. Or like goon with a couple people. Like goon with 4 or 5 bros. I mean, I did that. I've been invited to some group baits in the past couple of weeks, and I was able to kind of slightly goon with them. So that's been really fun. Um, I think it's actually quite sexy when you're able to like watch someone in their element, which is the beauty of like, bait groups and bait sessions, that you can actually watch your bro like give himself like optimal pleasure, and then it only inspires you to give yourself the same pleasure, which is very, very cool. I think once you goon, you can't really go back to like normal baiting. Because it feels good, dude. Like, gooning is fucking amazing. Like, I'm telling you, it's the next level. It's like the deepest, deepest pleasure, like without inhibitions that you're giving yourself. So like, I feel like once you achieve that state of pleasure, like there's no turning back. It's like having the best cup of coffee. Like, you just can't go back to drinking like Folgers. Oh shit! I'm not hating on Folgers. Like, if y'all are big fans of Folgers, I apologize, but you know what I mean. Like, if you're having a really great steak, you can't really go back to having like ground beef. It just isn't the same. Um, and when you get there, when you're able to find a goon, let me know. Let me know if what I'm saying is 100. Um, because I think it's pretty accurate. All right, cool. Let's take a short break for a sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a different issue that a brother is having. And this one is how to approach a friend about baiting together. All right. Very interesting. All right. We'll be right back, bros. All right. And we're back. Thanks again for sticking through that sponsorship. Gives me a little bit of cash in my pocket to keep doing these podcasts. So that's always nice. Fully transparent. Any money that I make off any of the things that I do for you all goes to all my student loans because I'm in debt. That's real. That's fucking real. That's the realest I can get with y'all. I mean, shit. College, man, it's fucking expensive. I kind of miss college. I mean, it was such an innocent time for me. I mean, I started college pretty late. I went to community college for a couple of years, and then I took a lot of time out to figure out what I really wanted to do. And then I took a really big interest in art, and I ended up going to art school. But I ended up going there when I was 27. I got accepted when I was 27, and I graduated art school when I was 30. Yep, that's about right. So I was a college graduate at the age of 30. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty late in the game, but it's cool. It's never too late to be what you might have been. So don't let that stop you or deter you. Just keep on doing what you got to do. If you want to go back to school, then do it. I've heard remarkable stories of like people well into like their late 40s and early 50s going to school and getting like these amazing degrees. So like, yeah, that's empowering. So do that if you're so inclined. College is cool. I like college. Um, high school is shit. Junior high, I've just permanently erased out of my mind. But I went to a really cool school. I went to art school, so that was like really groovy. It was like a bunch of like art kids just like making art together. That was pretty sweet. Speaking of friends, all right. So I got a DM on Instagram from a brother, and he wanted to know how you would approach a friend about baiting together. Now I had a couple of questions for this bro because it really depended on the type of friend that he had. I needed to know if this was a bait friend or if it was a non-bait friend. And I think he said non, but he said that they've discussed their baiting habits, but have never baited together. And I said, okay. And I was curious to know, had he mentioned it before, or a better question would have been, what's stopping you? Like, what's stopping you from asking to bait together? And he said it was rejection. If he's not into it, then he's nervous at the relationship of the future. But he wants to be able to bait with him because he feels like it would create a deeper bond between them, which I feel is true. Like you can totally open up a whole different dynamic in your relationship. But I think this would only work if both parties were interested. And I asked him, I said, well, I feel like if you ask him, it may make you feel awkward. And he said, yeah, I appreciate the friendship we have now. Awkward is exactly how it might feel. Even just asking him, I make him awkward. I said, and then I asked him if his friend had ever dropped clues or hints about the possibility of being together. And he said he's comfortable being naked around me, and also one summer we traded dick pics. And then I told him, I said, well, these are all great hints that leads me to believe that asking to bait together isn't ridiculous to ask. And I feel like it would be the evolution of your bait friendship or just your friendship in general. So here's a really interesting situation. There's a couple of things to note here. And this is how I would approach it. I would try to figure out the dynamics of the relationship first. For example, we all have those friends that we've known for a really long time that we just don't see in a sexual capacity whatsoever. And for me personally, I call this the X factor. So when a friend of mine has an X factor, that means I totally see them in only a platonic way. I don't see them romantically and I don't see them sexually. They're just a friend that I turn to that I don't want to have sex with. All I want to do is eat burgers and watch TV and like go grab a beer, right? That's your X factor friend. That's the friend that I don't trade pics with. That's the friend that I don't hang out naked with. Okay. Then you have that other friend that's a little bit more comfortable with you. Like maybe, maybe you asked to borrow his phone and you casually saw dick pics and you kind of laughed about it together. And you were like, yeah, everyone has dick pics. That's cool. Yeah, you're that friend that like it's that friend that will give you like a link to a really hot porno clip that he thinks is really sexy and he wants you to check out, you know? And then you have that friend that maybe one drunken night on a summer evening, you're like skinny dipping together and just casually hanging out naked together. That friend, I'd be much more inclined to potentially ask to be together because I feel like you already have established this dynamic together. And so to me, asking this particular friend to be together wouldn't be so out of the question. But again, I think it's really important to assess um, the dynamics of that friendship first before even engaging, because you do run the risk of them um, not accepting that invite, which could in turn make them feel awkward because now they might be feeling like they're obligated to do these things with you, which no one is. Uh, you're not obligated to give anyone sex that you don't want to, or to engage in any kind of sexual situation with anyone. You can simply, you can simply say no to that. But I think personally for me, like if I had that friend and I seen them naked and we exchanged dick pics, like knowing me, just being, I would take a really innocent, sweet, flirtatious approach, and I'd probably just text him back and be like, "Listen, bro, we've already seen each other naked. We might as well just jerk off." And make really light of it, and not have it be like this really serious conversation. That, and then I would hope that they would, based on their reply, then you could potentially start to gather whether or not there's any interest there. Um, so I think casually asking, innocently, playfully asking your brother to, or your friend to be like, yo, like, do you want to come over and like, watch TV? Maybe we can watch some porn, drop in these hints and clues, and then just wait for their response. So if they are responsive, then they'll be like, yeah, totally, let's fucking do it. And then, there's your opportunity to engage. But if you get the reply back and it's something like porn, like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't watch porn. Then for sure, that's a that's a dead on clue that this person's just not interested in masturbating with you. And that's okay. Here's the important thing that I want you bros to know. Like, we can't control how other people respond to us. We can only control how we respond to their response. Does that make sense? Like, we we can't make them respond in a way that benefits us. If they respond negatively or if they don't respond at all, we have to come to terms with that response. Like, we have to be okay with having someone say, hey, like, that's not what I'm into. That's not how I see a relationship. I don't think that's a good idea to have. What needs to not happen is I need you guys not to internalize that no into like a negative rejection of who you are as a person, because it has nothing to do with you whatsoever. You asking a simple question about masturbating together doesn't mean that you're a bad, horrible person. In fact, it makes you a wonderful person, because he said it in his DM, like the reason why he wants to masturbate with his friend, because he really wants to get a deeper connection with his homie. Like, that's what you want. Like, as brothers, as men, like, we just want to be able to bond with each other. And this brother would ideally like to bond with him in a more sexual capacity, and that's cool. I've been there. I've had friends that I've been attracted to, and um, that I feel like we'd have a really good time sexually, and I've been there. I've dropped those hints and I've gotten like, hey, no, I think that'd be not cool, or I'd feel uncomfortable. And that's totally okay. Like, people are allowed to have this response. Again, like I said, like we're not obligated to have sex with each other. It's totally our prerogative and it's our choice and it's our decision. But I would, I'm hopeful to think that if you have a really good relationship with your bro, and you're already seeing each other naked and you've already seen each other's dick pics, like, to me, like I said, like it wouldn't be so outrageous for him to be like, oh, like, why don't you just come over and hang naked and like we can watch porn? You know, it makes perfect sense to me. And I would, I would again, like I would definitely take it on a case to case. Like, I don't know the relationships that you all have with your bros. Only you know them as best as you know them. And I'm just simply coming from a place of like, here's what I would do. But I'm not friends with your bros. I don't know the history of your friendship. I don't know the dynamics of it. I don't know what you've done together. Um, and so I'll leave it up to each one of you's discretion to really go out there and make the best judgment call for your friendship. If you feel like if your gut feeling telling you like it's going to be a definite no, then maybe I'd keep those feelings to yourself. Um, but if you want to take the chance and you feel like it might be like a really good encounter, then go for it. Like I said, it can be a really playful ask. It doesn't have to be like a deep, serious conversation. It could just be like this casual thing that you're doing. Maybe you're already hanging out, drinking a beer, and you're just like, bro, let's just put on some porn and see what's up. I've done that before, actually. I've been hanging around with a couple of buddies, and we'll just like kick it at some boy's apartment, and I'll just be like, "Yo, like check out this new porno link," and I'll show everyone on my phone, and then someone will just be like, "Yo, put on the Apple TV," and that'll kick off something. That's definitely happened to me before, and those are always fun. But that's that those are few and far between. I don't want to suggest that every hangout is going to lead to a bait session, because more often than not, it's not going to happen that way. Um, but when it does, it's really fun. It's really cool. Um, and I agree with the brother. Like, I think baiting with a friend that you've never baited with has a possibility of adding a really sweet dynamic to the relationship. I think you'd be able to like explore things, um, and honor each other in a completely different way. I mean, it would certainly make you both very vulnerable to one another. And I think that's always really cool. Like when you're able to have complete vulnerability and you're able to be authentically you in a relationship, I think it only enhances what you have. It enhances both your lives, and you're able to engage in a whole different place, in a whole different manner that I feel can really enhance. Like I've said before, I feel like masturbation is only like positive. It can only bring good things to your life. Maybe that's another spin too. Like maybe you could talk to your friend and be like, "Hey, listen, like I want to show you, I want to show you the joys of bathing together. Like it could really change your life." That'd be a really cool way. Like I've never had someone do that to me. I feel like if I had someone come to me and approach me in that manner, I'd be like, "Really?" I'd be like, okay, show me. Like, I'm so down. Like, I want to know. Like, what's it all about? Um, that could be another clue too. Like, if you're like fishing around with your friend and they spark little um, curiosities towards what you're offering, and then that's your lead way in too. And be like, oh yeah, like you never baited with a bro? It's totally fun. It's cool. Like you're just hanging out naked. And then you're just like bonding and shit. And they're just like, oh yeah, like how? And then you're just like, well, I'll show you. um, Yeah, that actually sounds like a really fun time. I kind of miss that. I should work on manifesting that in my own life. I think that'd be a really good time with someone. Yeah, that's my advice. Again, I think the takeaway here's are first and foremost, really gauge the dynamics of your relationship. If they got the X factor, I wouldn't even try it. Keep it to yourself and just jerk off and fantasize about that situation happening. But if you've dropped in hints and you have a much more a much more sexually fluid relationship with each other, and you have that that sexual dynamic already, like I don't think it would be such a big deal if you casually mentioned that you don't want to bait. And, just be honest and transparent with your bro. It come from a place of love, and just be like, look, bro, like I think you're cool as shit, and I think we'd have a really good time if we got naked together and jerked off. Point blank, period. You don't have to like beat around the bush. I think there's something really powerful just about like telling someone what you want, getting a yes or no answer, and then moving on. Whatever the response is, just getting out of the way and just moving forward. And I think that if you guys have a really good relationship, you have a really amazing bond, and I don't think this is going to destroy anything. I think you'll have like a really good laugh about it. If it's a no, then you'll just move on with your friendship. But if it's a yes, well, fuck, it's going to be a great time. And if it happens, let me know. You know who you are, bro. I want to hear. I want to know all the details. um. All right, cool. I think that's it for this episode for sure. I love chatting with you all, and I love recording these podcasts and having a convo about sex and masturbation and brotherhood. So come back for more. I will be here next week. I have a really fun special guest lined up for next week's episode. I'm really excited to get that rolling and talk about really cool, fun stuff. Again, you can find me on social media being social. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, bateworld.com. Do not be afraid to say hi. I love your messages. I love when you all engage and ask me questions, and I'm here to help in any way that I possibly can. And thank you so much for being with me today on this episode. I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely night, and I wish you all the best and a very, very sexy bait session. All right, brothers, I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next episode. Happy baiting.